Well, let's get into some spring football discussion. Robin, started off here because we did learn a lot about injuries.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the breakdown. Who is out, and kind of give us the update on the injuries.
Yeah, several players are going to be out for spring ball, including a handful of very notable names. Two running backs, Ramir Johnson with his hip injury and Gabe Irvin Jr. with his shoulder injury. They will be held out of spring ball. Wide receiver Isaiah Garcia Castaneda is still coming back off the ACL injury he suffered last year. And Turner Corcoran might be the biggest one of all, in the sense that he's the one that Rhule designated as a potential long-term deal, to where he's not only going to miss spring, but he's probably going to miss some fall camp, and there's a chance that he could miss some time on into the start of the season.
He's never redshirted.
Yeah, so that kind of changes up your discussion about the offensive line, because he was a pretty prominent player in those projections. Might have to reevaluate that a little bit. But I guess the good news is on those other three, Johnson, Irvin, and Garcia Castaneda, they're all expected to be ready for the start of fall camp. And then some guys that are going to be limited include Princewell, Uman Mielen, and Malachi Coleman, who are both dealing with shoulder injuries. But a positive note is Maverick Noonan, who his college career got sidelined before he even started early in fall camp last year with a knee injury. He is heading in the right direction and has a shot to participate in spring practices this year. So some negatives, some positives, but an update of where the injury front stands.
So hello, Teddy Prohaska.
Yep. Hello, Dante Dowdell.
Yeah. Okay. So start with Teddy.
That's the big one to me.
Yeah. Teddy at left tackle, though, will be critical. Now, remember, Turner Corcoran started at left tackle for 7 games last year. I think it was the first 7.
And it started the previous couple of years before that.
Right. So he has a lot of experience. Teddy has 10 starts, though. So Teddy's dealt with some injury issues. I think that, at one point, Teddy was designated the left tackle of the future. So the future's now for Teddy. It's time.
Well, and how about Micah Mazuka today, Matt Rhule? That wasn't a real
resounding,
glowing candidate endorsement for the upcoming election. I was kind of like, God, tell me how you really feel, Coach Rhule.
Right. So, it was glowing praise for Jamal Banks, the way he's adapted to Nebraska and, their off-season program and the scoring system they have and such. And then, on the other end of the spectrum, he basically said Mazuka's got to adapt to the way we do things here. So, but he'll come around. I'm sure he'll come around, but it was kind of Matt Rhule, and we've seen this with him. He's smart. He uses this podium to make statements to his locker room. He is it's interesting. And we've talked about this, guys. When we discuss players nowadays, it's a little different because they're getting paid. And with Mazuka, you're talking about a 22-year-old kid, a 23-year-old, 22-year-old.
With like almost 3 years of starting experience.
Yeah, he could be an NFL rookie very easily. And people are very, people criticize NFL players. It's no problem. So the way college football has changed has kind of changed the way I look at how you criticize them. It's easier to criticize even a freshman like Dylan Raiola when he's making over $1 million. Yeah. He's making more than Brock Purdy. So it's easier to kind of say, maybe criticize him a little bit.
Guess
more.
what? He's a young man. He can handle it. Like, he's 22 years old.
Exactly.
The only thing you can't do is rent a car at this point. So like you're open to that sort of criticism, especially now that you're getting paid for your services.
Right.
Like you
handsomely.
You're no longer protected under the just hardworking student athlete shield.
Right.
That has always been there. That's no longer there.
You go. You said that very well. Thank you, Rob.
Well, even like a prospect's commitment, to me, it's not as sacred anymore. And there's an NIL element to it. Like, if like he's got a deal and he's going there, it's almost like a professional thing now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
isn't that interesting?
You don't really honor this sacred, honorable. In a lot of cases, but there's a big NIL element to everything now.
Right. Absolutely. So so you guys were more interested in the running back situation.
Well, because Emma Johnson will open camp for sure. Number one.
Yes.
Quentin Ives is going to get great opportunity, but Dante, don't call me Cowbell Dowdell, will come in there.
Where did that come from?
I'm just on a.
I need more Dowdell.
I kind of liked it in a way, but yeah.
Don't call me Cowbell Dowdell.
He's got a fever. We need more Dowdell.
Yeah. Who was that actor that did that?
Will Ferrell.
No, Will Ferrell and
no, it wasn't just Will Ferrell. Rob, pull it. Come on.
Jeez.
Yeah,
All
he
right,
was from the Deer Hunter.
Yes, from the Deer Hunter.
Christopher
Walken. Good job. No, so I like what Sean said, and I'm glad you said it. Emmett Johnson starts number 1
for sure.
Yeah, he earned it. He played well last year.
Dowdell is going to get good reps.
Oh my God, Dowdell's got to be like. You wonder, in fact, if Dowdell knew coming in that they weren't going to have in the spring Irvin and Johnson, and if now I don't know if he was thinking this, but if it was me, I'd think, wait a second, did you say Irvin and Johnson aren't playing this spring? And if he did hear that, you would think his reaction would be, okay, I'm going to get a lot of reps. Here we go. You're going to now that would be beautiful if we saw practice, because I'd love to see what that looks like.
And he's 215, 218,
yeah,
6'2".
Yeah, and Rhule mentioned his size and physicality is one of the biggest reasons why he didn't say they necessarily needed to go take a running back, but to add a player with his attributes, especially that size and strength, they wanted more of a power element in that backfield, which I don't know what that means for Gabe Irvin, because that was kind of his MO.
You can have more than one,
but I think they want another hammer, and I think that's what Dowdell, if nothing else, is going to provide that.
One more thing I want to get in here, quarterbacks, because I did take note, Matt Rhule, very careful not to prop up Dylan Raiola, like not to kind of like
just ordain him in the opening.
Harbor. Like in fact, when they would mention 3, he had Harbor. I mean, he mentioned Raiola 3rd, but you can sense that Matt Rhule understands kind of what's going on right now. And look, Raiola is extremely talented. He's the favorite to win this job, but Matt Rhule obviously knows that he's going to have to earn it and win the job here now over the next few months.
Well, he said they're going to be looking at those guys, those quarterbacks during the winter. The other players watch the way they work, and that's where you earn your stripes, so to speak. I will tell you this: don't worry about Dylan Raiola that way. Dylan Raiola is coming to win the job. Dylan Raiola is coming to lead the team. I mean, it's not. I'll tell you one thing I'm not worried about is whether Dylan Raiola puts forth a strong effort in the winter. I guarantee he's doing it every day.
Yeah, and Rhule also left the door open on adding a potential quarterback. He said they're content with going with 3. He said they usually always just have 3, but if the right player, the right situation presents itself, that door is not closed. So we'll see if it happens, but they have not completely eliminated the possibility of adding another player to that room.
But for spring, they're going to get great reps.
Oh yeah, and Rhule said that's a huge thing for them. I mean, look how young they are.
Young guys.
Like Harburg's your oldest guy, and he's still scratching the surface in his development. 20. Yeah, so you get 3 young QBs that are going to get a ton of reps.
And don't undersell Harburg making a massive jump. Like I think he will make a big jump, because a year ago at this time he wasn't even a thought. It was Casey Thompson, it was Jeff Sims. It was Chuba Purdy. Then it was Heinrich Harburg.
Heinrich needs to make a big jump as a passer, as a passer and a decision maker. That's where he's got.
Well, now he's got real film.
Yeah,
like he didn't have film before. He had Kearney Catholic film where he was bigger than every player on the field, and he was playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Now he's got Big Ten film to look at, study, and build off of.
Yeah, that should help. That should help. Just overall comfort at the position. But this spring, God, the spring is big. I mean, it's just so big for so many guys. There has to be development.
And March 24th, by the way.
Okay, that's when it starts?
On a Sunday.
Really?
And here's why. Because they open the week of Easter. So they'll practice Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Then the players get Good Friday off, and then the Easter weekend off.
Okay.
So Matt Rhule has always done that with his team on spring ball. They don't practice on Good Friday or the Easter weekend.
Okay.
So
there you go. 24th.
They'll open up on Sunday, the 24th.
So we'll probably have a press conference like on Friday.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know when.
I'll push for that. We'll get that.
So you can get a Sunday column out of it.
Actually,
hear that, Keith, man?
Yes.
All right.